turnout. Now we're having exactly almost, I think, over 1,100,000 voters in Kampala. We do not yet know how many exactly have voted, but of course the results say that there has been low voter turnout. So that means we're looking under 500,000 voters. Well, Lauryn, take us away.
Well, let us take a look at what happened in Mengo, Chisenyi 2 parish in central Kampala, where of course the voter turnout, as always, was low. And of course this is compared to the enthusiasm that was shown in the recent presidential and parliamentary elections. Now most of the polling station in the parish saw the polling agents in a relaxed mode. Take a look.
District councillors. Some of the voters cited the low turn to lack of a public holiday because many were busy working.
I've
come so that I decide for myself. I don't want other people to decide for me.
We want good leaders. That's why I have to cast my vote.
Kasato, Kiganda, Kibwa, Kakajo, Mbilo and Market View, among others, are some of the villages in Mengo Kisento parish, and in all, voting was visibly low.
People are not turning up, and people are just biased. Everybody is moving on his way. Abantu besaze, abantu baga bintu bya ebidakuwasi bagala mukulembeze. Mbadde njagala okulonda omukulembeze gwe njagala nkiikirire era mmaze omulonda.
In these same polling stations, during the presidential and parliamentary elections, voter turnout was in big numbers. Security in all the polling stations was peaceful. Abraham Robert Bwaita, UBC News, Kisenyi.
Now, Ugandans have had an opportunity to vote for their women representatives and mayoral representatives for cities, municipalities, and districts. Of course, that's the local government.
Well, it was, however, realized that Ugandans respected the standard operating procedures during the process. We have the story.
Ugandans have had an opportunity to cast their votes by choosing women representatives and that of mayoral positions this Wednesday, 20th January 2021. In Kampala City, the turnout, however, was very low in most of the polling stations. At Kasese Towers, the voting exercise started on time, though few people turned up, as was earlier anticipated. Meanwhile, primary 7 pupils at Nachivubo Blue Primary School were in class carrying on with their day's studies as they prepare to sit for their end-of-year examination papers as voting commenced in their school gardens. The same mood was experienced at Nachivubo Blue Primary School with low voter turnout and a smooth election exercise.
So the turnout has not been that good quite compared to the presidential elections, and people have not been that so much conversant with. I don't know whether they're even sure whether they are meant to vote today, but people have not generally turned out. Case of COVID, we are putting the measurements and making them that they are still stringent as it was compelled by the Electoral Commission.
Zibadde saawa nga 2 abantu ne batandika okulonda. Era okuba babatandise tetunafunamuko obuzibu bwonna yadde poliisi weeri emaze okukuuma abantu n'abantu bajja bulungi naye lwakuba nti tebali mu kujja mu bungi nga ku luli we twali tulonda ba pulezidenti yo yali layini nga mpanvu naye kwegamba leero omuntu ajja n'atuuka ne bamukolako ne bamucekinga mu register ne bamumala n'agenda kwegamba tebatwala kiseera nnyo.
The turnout was really very low because we had people didn't, because of COVID, people they didn't work. Today is not public holiday, so that people are working. They are very busy on their works. Yeah, so that we are here waiting for them. The polling station is closed at 4. They are waiting for them. They are coming very slowly, but the turnout was very poor today due to poverty.
Ugandans exercised their right to vote this Wednesday by electing women councillors and a Kampala Lord Mayor who would respond to the prosperity of their city. Sandra Kahunde, UBC News.
Now, definitely, you've still heard again, low voter turnout. Now, but what the concern is going to come out to be is that do the voters or do the leaders that come out well represent the people? Because if you're seeing scenarios of low voter turnout, that means the people voting are going to be few. And if they are few, that means it's not going to well represent the vote or the electorate of the people that put them into power. However, we are going to go to Wakiso. Rhoda Ngozi is right there, and she's going to be telling us what is transpiring at the Wakiso Tallying Center. Rhoda, over to you.
Thank you, Arnold. Yes, today LC5 chairperson and councillor elections did register a low voter turnout, as we have been seeing across the country. And really this pales in comparison to the presidential and parliamentary elections that we had last week. Many of the polls right now in Wakiso district have completed vote counting and declared winners. And if we are to go or base on any of those preliminary results, then the NUP candidate, also incumbent Mityana is in the lead. However, we are at the Wakiso district headquarters, and the officials from the Electoral Commission will declare results in as they stream in. Very quickly, we'll look at some of the results from the polling stations. Of course, Wakiso district does have a big number of registered voters, over 1 million, and about over 1,000 rather polling stations I beg your pardon, yes, at Wakiso Health Center 4 station, that's Kisimbiri KK, NUP candidate, that's Wanika, is in the lead with 209 votes, followed by the DP candidate, Nsobuga Simon, with 49 votes. The NRM candidate comes in third, Moses Mayanja, with 30 votes, and the FDC candidate Moses Sechanzi with no vote over there, and Jema Ahmed Kowesa with 1 vote. We will speak to the returning officer, Musinguzi Tolbert. Good evening to you. Today's election, would like to know, in your opinion, in your view, what has been the overall feel and the overall process? How has that gone? We've seen in some areas there's the disbursement of the voter materials was delayed. In other areas, voter materials that were received were wrong, if we could call it that. But here in Wakiso district, how has the process been?
It has been, I would say, a successful process. We managed to deliver all our polling materials by 7 a.m. They were all at their respective polling stations. So we had to ensure that one delivery is done early in the morning, so that by 7 they are there. So we managed to deliver that by 7. Since then, we've not received any report of any incident that I have on my desk. It has been largely successful up to now as we wait for the final tally.
You have quite a large team here to tell what's happening in the background. And obviously Wakiso is also quite a huge district with many voters. How many polling stations have you so far get an update from that, receive results from?
In total, Wakiso has 1,434 polling stations. And I have 3 collection centers, Electoral Commission collection centers in the district. For the counties of Busiro South, that is Entebbe municipality, and the Makindi Sabagalo. Those ones, the collection center, we have an office in Entebbe. That's where we collect from. Then for Busiro East, Busiro North, and the Nansana municipality, the collection center is here in Wakiso. Then we have a collection center for Chira municipality and the Kasangat town council. The collection center is in Kasangat. So now we are receiving results. And the report I have is that we are so far For the Entebbe Center, we are at 50%. For Wakiso Center, we are at 70%. And for Chela Center, we're also at 70%. So hopefully in an hour's time, we shall be having results here and the tallying will start.
In managing of elections going forward, with what we've seen in the presidential and parliamentary elections, but also what we've experienced today, we've also gone ahead to see reports come out even from the human rights activists that there are quite a number of gaps. For instance, civic education is lacking and also manpower. What lessons are you taking away from this election?
We are learning. Learning is a continuous process, and every election gives us its own challenges. Even this one has given us its own challenges. We are learning. And where we have seen some few gaps, we shall fill them up for the coming election.
Thank you very much. Well, we will be giving you updates from the officials at from the Electoral Commission in just a bit, but I will just continue with some of the results that are trickling in from different polling stations. Polling station 2, that's MM to LM. NUP candidate Bwanika is in the lead with 171 votes. The DP candidate Nsubuga Simon comes second with 36 votes. While NRM candidate Moses Mayanja registers 25 votes over there. FDC Moses Sechanzi has 1 vote together with his counterpart from Jima Ahmed Kawesi. Wakiso Muslim Primary School polling station, that's A to J. NUP still the incumbent is in the lead with 63 votes. DP comes in second with 19 votes. That's Nsubuga Simon. And we see NRM's Moses Mayanja garnering 11 votes over there. We will also be giving you more updates in just a bit, but obviously the Electoral Commission does declare the official results. Back to you, Arnold.
All right, thank you so much, Rhoda Ngozi in Wakiso District, giving us an update what the election is like in Wakiso District. Of course, the story seems to be the same, low voter turnout, but this time around, the story is a little bit different when you look at the election of male city councillor for Lira City West Division A, where it has been suspended after a mismatch of names and symbols on all the ballot papers. Now, the candidates and voters expressed disappointment over the glitch, saying it will stretch them financially and will affect the voter turnout for the next election. However, election for Lira City Mayor and other city councillors was successful in all the 183 polling stations, although voting began late due to the late arrival of the first 10 voters to witness the opening of the black box. We have the story.
As the country decide for their local government leaders, there has been a remarkably low voter turnout at most polling stations in Lira City. At Lira Cathedral A polling station, by midday, only 30 people had voted out of the 701 registered voters. However, most polling stations in Lira City were set by 7 a.m., but 10 voters required to witness the opening of the black box could not be available until 9 a.m.
Lira being a new city, people are at least they are putting their concern about the quality of the leaders they want to put in place. That is what why I'm optimistic that there will be fairly good turnout to get at least better leaders.
As a believer, I know we vote, but the result is God's. And if you want to try again next time. Let's be peaceful. Uganda is ours. This country is not going anywhere. So there should be no panic. There should be no war. There should be no strike. There should be no demonstration. We are God's people. Let's love one another.
I want to emphasize that the local government elections need to be reviewed. When you looked at the turn-up for the elections today, it is approximately very poor. I've been monitoring in many places, and actually the turn-up is even terrible. We don't know what the impact will appear like.
Although the results are not yet out, but the race for Lira City mayoral position was tight between the incumbent UPC's Mike Ogwangolwa, Sam Atula, an independent candidate, and NRM's Willie Omodo.
This very polling station, last week, we started voting at around midday. But I am happy that today we have started on time and the exercise is going on well. Though the voter turnout is low, as you can witness, I am happy that the exercise is not taking long. And I think today, the way the officials have positioned themselves is making it very easy for us to move.
I'm not coming full of my own ideas, but I believe there are issues that have dogged our municipalities for a long time. Now that we've upgraded to a city, it should not again transition into the city. For example, garbage management. It has been very poor in Lira municipality. So we don't want this to transition into the city status.
Meanwhile, in Lira City West Division A, election of city councillor was suspended due to mismatch of candidate symbols and names. These disappointed candidates and voters who went eagerly to cast their votes.
You know, the next day for voting should be as soon as possible, as soon as the next election. Because if they say this election is going to delay, first of all, it will affect the representation in the council. Secondly, psychologically, we are tortured.
So obviously, what happened here is going to affect the mayoral contest seriously, particularly in Lira City West area.
They were supposed to correct everything, and they bring the ballot papers today. But they made a mistake. They did not make corrections.
However, the Lira City returning officer, Rasida Sacha, said the commission will organize another election. Meanwhile, in Kwale District, UPC's candidate for Kwale District chairperson, Caesar Alaju, pulled out of the race on the polling day, alleging he was being threatened by his counterparts, leaving the battle for 4 candidates, including the incumbent Betia Kolinam. Ediolwa for UBC News in Lira City.
Well, definitely very serious challenges right there in Lira City. Definitely, if they do not be able to vote today, it's going to affect them financially, economically. How much? Nobody knows actually how much people are putting into these elections. But pretty expensive. And it was the same story, or similarly, misplacement of ballot papers in Wakiso district, in Sikatu, Deba parish, and also the voter turnout was low, as we have our reporters to tell us.
This is Gombe Award, Wakiso district. Despite the materials arriving in time, the voter turnout is seemingly very low, and the agents here say the voters were not sensitized about the exercise.
So we observe. I am here to see the process, how it goes. Today we are, the main target is LC5 chairpersons and LC councillors, LC5 councillors, female and male. So compared to the presidential election, the turnout was very high compared to now, because on the presidential election, by now people were so many, but actually by 6 people were already congested here, and we spent the whole night counting up to I think around midnight. We were still counting here. But by look of things here, we might end by 5 or 6, because the turn-up is very low. People are coming one by one, and some of them we are just calling them. We give them a call, there is election today, you please come and vote. And others, we just hijacking them on the words. They go to do their work, we just hijack them, they ask what's happening here, then we inform them what's happening here. The cause basically we think awareness was so low. The presidential election was everyone was aware, because everyone knew we are voting president and it's on 14th. But today people don't know the date, people don't know what's happening. I think the awareness was very lacking. We urge the Electoral Commission to do more about it. We are just calling people to come and vote. Some of them we are moving around informing them to come and vote. So they are not aware of what's happening. The security is okay because also the momentum is so low. It's not so high like on presidential, like it was on presidential. It is low, so security have less work here. Everything is moving smooth, everything is moving at its own pace, so there is no panic and there is no any pressure because of the turnout. Yeah, SOPs, people are coming with masks, and every center there is a washing place. Though there are no gun thermometers, but the washing hands, it's happening, and people are coming with their masks.
Arnold for Busiro East. I'm here at the Gombe Kayunga polling station, seeing the numbers of voters who have turned up today. Indeed, there is a low turnout. I don't know whether people have stressed or people have churned this election because of the recent presidential elections. But I'm calling upon all people of Gombe Kayunga to come and vote, because the people they are voting, the local government people, are the ones that are going to stay with. They are the ones that they are going to stay with. I'm calling upon them to forget the past.
Now, unlike other polling stations across the country that were characterized by a low voter turn-up, in Mityana, the elderly people dominated the queues at several polling stations compared.
Turn-up of voters in Mityana district as electorates queued to decide their next LC5 chairperson and district councillors. However, the numbers here were also not pleasing, like it was in the presidential and parliamentary polls. However, unique was the numbers of the elderly people who turned up in huge numerical strength that outcompeted the number of the youths in various polling stations.
Twagala tuteekerekezera ebyasaanidde okukola okukugira mu bantu, okutuwa ebyenjigiriza ebirungi, okutukolera amakubo, services kwegamba ezisaanidde nga chairperson Luero Fikiri, tuzeetaaga amazzi amalungi, amasannyalaze, abaana baffe basome kulabira.
Whereas in other parts of the country, electoral materials were delivered late, this was not the case in Mityana. Electoral materials arrived on time at Kangavu, Kasalaga, among others. In Busuju, the turn-up of voters was low. However, in Mityana municipality, at Tanda, Wabigalo, Chiendi Public School, the voter turn-up was slow. It's noted that the position of LC5 Mityana district, the incumbent chairman, Joseph Lusige NRM, is contesting against Abdul Moyimbwa, independent, and Mugisha Patrick Noop, also voters elected district councillors. Sandra Kahonde, UBC News.
Now, from low voter turn-up to a higher turn-up of the elderly compared to the youth, the voting of both male and female city councillors in the northern division of Mbale City have been postponed until further notice following glaring electoral irregularities that could spark off violence if not halted. Now, the male city returning officer Charles Lopello, said packaging of electoral materials had several errors. We have this story.
By 7:30 a.m., polling materials had not been delivered at North Road Primary School, which has 4 polling stations. This was true for other polling stations within less than 10 kilometers from the District Electoral Commission. By 8:30 a.m., several polling stations had not yet opened with the exercise due to lack of quorum.
kale nga sinyonyo bakumi kale wadi batano nga webali neso katisani nakaba omuntu omuyeka akolanga witness of which at those witnesses by no kuribanga bateo kasita mu register So that's what we are still waiting for.
At IUIU Ward Polling Station, Nkrumah High Polling Station, Lions Park Polling Station, and Namatala Church of Uganda Polling Station, among others. At Nkrumah High Polling Station, after opening the books, it was realized that the pictures appearing on the ballot papers for the women and male councillors was for another polling station in Northern Division East instead of Northern Division West. This was now trouble again, leading to the postponement of the exercise. Sandra Kahunde, UBC News.
Now in Luero, despite starting out the day with low voter turnout, later on within the day, voting started to gain momentum.
Now, Luero district residents were voting for local government chairpersons and councillors that will lead them in the next 5 years from 2021 to 2026.
The Luero district local government council's election has, like elsewhere, been marred by low voter turnout, which was in big contrast to the presidential and legislature polls. The most bitterly contested position is that for LC5 chairperson, which has 6 contestants, including Erasto Kibirango, Vincent Sebaiga and NRM's Juko Kamoga, who highlights what he expects to achieve in case he's voted into office.
We need to bring new methods of farming. Luero is an agricultural district. It's a village district, even where our towns depend entirely on the farmers. If farmers are poor, then even our small towns will be poor. So we need to center on that. How do we bring in the new methods of farming to our people? Land is scarce these days. We have to use the limited land we have in a way which can yield better results.
Elsewhere, Kiza Seninde, who is the husband to Minister Rosemary Seninde, is amongst those contesting for the LC5 councillor slot for Kichusa sub-county in Luero district.
I want to request the government, this time let us focus on the development. Let us not misappropriate the government fund. Let us elect good people in the office. Those who are not doing any work in the government other than swindling the government money. Please, I want to request the government to eliminate them or to discontinue them from the office work.
By news time, the tallying of votes was still ongoing at various centers.
Now, the local government council elections in Kasese district have suffered a technical glitch in which several biometric voter verification machines failed to work for several hours, slowing down the entire electoral exercise.
Unlike other parts of the country, where the slow turn-up of voters has been attributed to lack of adequate civic education, time management, to deliver electoral materials on time, to respecting polling stations, and a mix in the package of voter materials, in Kasese district, the problem was different. In Bukonza West, bordering the Uganda-Congo border of Mpondwe, the biometric voter verification machines failed to work, slowing the entire electoral exercise for long hours. The technical problems did not only affect the voters in Bukonza East. Similar problems were witnessed in Busongora North, originally controlled by the opposition until last week, when the ruling NRM reclaimed it from the opposition. The areas most affected in Busongora North included Hoima Town Council, other plainlands, and in the mountainous areas of Ibanda, Maliva, Nyakalingijo, among others. Whereas technical glitches compounded almost the entire voting exercise in the far western district of Kasese, leaders here aren't bothered about the outcomes. All they need are better services.
I want to call the people of Kasese that they should allow me to become their leader, and when I become their leader, I'm going to work with the people of Kasese, and we unite the people of Kasese regardless of one's tribe, regardless of one's religious affiliation, regardless of where you come from in this region, and assuring that we remain united and live in harmony as people of Kasese. The first thing I'm going to do when I take over power, I'm going to call the members of parliament as their father, those from opposition and those who have gone through NRM system. And as a parent, I will make sure I sit with them, we map the way forward to see how Kasese is going to develop. This business of going to parliament and they begin pulling each other and yet they are all from Kasese. The people of Kasese want development and not antagonizing them with the government.
The candidates interested in the Kasese District LC5 seat include the incumbent Sebindire Bigongo of the FDC, Erifazi Muhindi of NRM, and Augustine Musema on an independent ticket. Sandra Kahunde, UBC News.
Now, in another turn of events, police is holding 10 suspects, or rather supporters of Brian Kaboyo, one of the candidates in the mayoral race of Hoima. Now, the suspects were picked from various parts of Hoima City for allegedly attacking the supporters of Grace Mary Mugasa, the incumbent Hoima mayor race runner.
10 people are being held over electoral malpractice in Hoima municipality. They were picked from various parts of Hoima City for allegedly attacking supporters of Grace Mary Mugasa, the incumbent Hoima City mayor. These include Mohamed Chiwanuka, Rogers Bategeka, Abdul Kasadda, Lawrence Friday, Frank Sabiti, Rashid Kalyango, and Matia Mlumba. The Albertine Region Police spokesperson Julius Hakiza says the suspects attacked and destroyed 2 vehicles belonging to Mugasa's camp. The 2 vehicles they were allegedly driving in have been towed to Hoima Central Police Station. Akiza says during the arrest of the suspects, a police constable identified as Aziz Namuguve and attached to Hoima Central Police Station was pelted with stones by the rowdy supporters.
So, tunjira mawule tuangura grupu ya Owesingiroko wa meya wa Hoima City wa Fraga Bear wa NRM abira inabantu babiri ni bakora operation and ni attacking a group ya omuchara Mary Mugasa.
Not very happy about the conduct of one of, I think I should even call it a flag bearer, of the flag bearer for the city mayor, NRM flag bearer. The behavior was not good yesterday.
The Hoima City mayoral race has attracted 5 candidates who include Grace Mary Mugasa, the incumbent who is contesting as an independent candidate, Brian Kaboyo, the NRM candidate, Dan Kaija from UPC, Rashid Tumusime from NUP, and Wycliffe Tumusime from the Forum for Democratic Change Party. Meanwhile, LC5 elections in Chankwanzi district have been cancelled after one of the candidates not appearing on the ballot paper. Chankwanzi district candidates include John Mpuga, independent, Simon Ndamulira, Chinene, NRM, Akankwasa Edward, independent, and Kakoza Ronald, NUP.
Now away from Hoima City, the local government council elections in Kalangala have ended peaceful, with the National Unity Platform dominant in many of the contested areas.
But like elsewhere, the voter turnout was disappointing, leaving the voters to blame this on many issues, as John Barnes sent him a report.
Nemutwalizamu balonzi wadde bazimusolesole balonze era ensonga kyolayo bafunye obulungi n'opo ekyaleebya mu byakabalibwawo yalusuubira n'opo egenda kwongolera egenda kuddamu ewangule Kalangala. N'olwekyo ne tusaba okusinga tutambulira wamu ab'ebibiina ebya twekyawa tetwetematemamu kubeera ensi yaffe okugenze bulungi tebadde mu kakyankalano konna era buli awangudde yabala okujjira ku NUP yakola kinene era twebaza omusajja Kyagulanyi just myaka 3
kyenkwogerako ndabira ddala nga akalulu k'olwaleero yadde tekajjumbiddwa naye nga kabadde ka mirembe. Akalulu k'olwaleero kyenkalabyemu ndaba nga aba NUP bakyali waggulu nnyo n'ebitusomerwa okuva mu polling station ki.
Now, elections for the local council chairman and district councillor started at at several polling stations in Chisoro district, and the delay was attributed to late delivery of electoral materials and the challenge with operating the biometric verification machines.
People in Chisoro district gathered at polling stations as early as 7 a.m. to cast their votes for local government leaders, although actual voting started at 8 a.m. Abel Bizaimana, the Chisoro LC5 incumbent, has voted at Mchuho polling station in Yakabande sub-county at 9:30 a.m. and said that he has hopes of winning.
I also have a privilege to vote for myself to seek for a second term in the office of the district chairperson. So I've done it, I've finished voting, highly expecting that I will win as the NRM flag bearer. You know, the previous pattern has shown that all the NRM flag bearers were voted. So I feel it myself that I'm going to win.
Another candidate, Naboth Tumuwine, voted Gwingwe polling station, but by 8:50 a.m. electoral materials had not arrived. There were delays.
In a polling station, konka to my disappointment, zaikashahi ibiri ebyo koze certificate ikireho. So nani nshaba electoral commission kubara abe batandika zirengire shahi ibiri inteka ntibunabaza kohereza abantu ample time like in the evening bataza kucinga zaba shahi 10 at least bachinga zaba shahi 11 nanga shahi 12.
At Gakoro Primary School polling station, electoral materials also delayed the voting exercise.
Turagera hano saha imwe ariko saha imwe twagezeho ariko ndababakaje ariko aho ndi kuvugira ibikoresho byose byagezeho yo kuba tarapfundura ngo dutandike gukora.
Umurimo wanje kaba utandika saha zingahe, saha imwe ni saha ibiri n'igice. So akaba nayo nifuza batugire mu bwangu hano then we go for other works.
At Muhoho, people started to vote at 8:30. Residents said that they had to vote early in the morning before rains begin to pour.
Amasaha n'utanga saa imwe tukatari kureba yuba turaganyishije kugenda kunyererwa yakateze ururu y'amasaha karuru so rwo kwicira abantu amasaha yabo. Polling station ya Chu Primary School yo gutora akaruru agizo saa 2:28 akaruru tugateye neza bamahane gariho security iriho naho batuzi.
Polling station isa 2 maze gutora akaruru kanje hari well organized abantu bari kuza buhoro buhoro.
Ronald Ngabirano, head of Muho polling station, said that materials came late, biometric machine delayed to work, and the turn-up.
Delayed us basically was the delay of the distribution of the materials from the sub-county. So that's why we're about not more than 7 people that have so far. About 8 have so far voted. The number, we are now, the number hasn't yet gone beyond that.
Candidates in the race are Naboth Tumuwine, independent, Abel Bizimana, NRM flag bearer, Christopher Ruzaza, independent, and Milton Bazanya, the former Chisoro district LC5 chairman, independent. The situation in Chisoro district is calm. People are observing SOPs by putting on masks, washing hands, no gatherings since people are coming one by one. I'm Nafka Farida.
Now, the local government elections in Wakiso district were not much different from the others, with the low voter turnout being characterized. However, this time security personnel allegedly interfered with the election process.
Well, the incumbent LC5 chairman of Wakiso district alleged that the district police commander of Entebbe municipality connived with some security operatives. Take a look.
The LC5 chairperson of Wakiso district, the incumbent Matia Luanga Bwanika, casted his vote at St. Jude Namulanda polling station. However, amid his observations of a voter low turn-up in other parts of the country, Wakiso was not exceptional, but he faulted the Electoral Commission for failing to conduct adequate civic education to the electorates on the relevance of local government elections.
Yes, I think it is out of lack of civic education
And it's out of frustration of the national elections that people tend to shun local government elections. It is quite unfortunate that if it is delivery of service to the common man, it is the area which in governance which is supposed to be done by local governments.
However, he was quick at observing that at this polling station, the electoral process was going on well. The loopholes bordering on electoral malpractices need to be addressed by the Electoral Commission. Matia revealed that unconfirmed reports in his possession drag the district police commander of Entebbe municipality and some security operatives attached to the elite special forces command at the center of electoral fraud at one of the polling stations in Entebbe. He alleges that the culprits invaded a polling station, secured voter registers from a presiding officer and plucked out leaflets that obtain particulars of eligible voters. The intention remains unclear, but the act is treated of a partisan nature bordering on electoral fraud.
Entebbe with a movie so registers at the station. So, but what we have realized is that he wants to create some kind of confusion so that the anticipated fraud is implemented.
Besides the low turn-up of the voters, the situation in Entebbe municipality has been calm, only that in Minonko, Misoli, voters wanted to turn against the presiding officer who tried to stop other voters from voting because they had not carried with themselves national identity cards, which the electoral official deemed a requirement for one to vote. In other polling stations in Entebbe municipality, totally empty with only presiding officers and polling agents. 5 people are contesting for the office of the chairman, LC5, in Wakiso district. But tonight, the electors will determine the fate of who suits the office over the next 5 years. Sandra Kahonde, UBC News.
Well, putting the local government elections together, I find it quite unfair that the presidential and parliamentary elections were seemingly organized. Yes, but when we take a look at this time, you know, we're having verification machines and biometric machines failing. A low voter turnout, definitely not the Electoral Commission to blame. But what do you think?
Well, I think I would attribute this, in my own opinion, I would attribute this to the day not being declared a public holiday. That's one. And then, of course, so many eyes, you know, during the presidential and parliamentary elections, so many eyes, you know, were on that election day compared to, you know, the different other elections that we've been having so far.
What about the voter biometric machines, you know, the late coming? What would you...
I tend to think that maybe this is some kind of sabotage that we're not seeing at the end.
It's sabotage, Lauryn. I don't think it's sabotage. However, let's take a short break, and when we return, we'll be back with more news tonight, so please stay tuned.
Connect to the world for free on Ayoba. Chat with friends for free. Play games all day for free. Jam to Ziki for free. You can also send money through Ayoba. Absolutely no MBs needed. To download the app, visit www.mtn.co.ug/mymtn and select Ayoba.
Everywhere you go, MTN. A good school doesn't tolerate violence against children.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
Double data. Airtel introduces double data. The biggest deal ever on smartphones in Uganda. Buy a smartphone, 3G or 4G, and get 100% data bonus from Airtel. Airtel is giving you 100% bonus data on all weekly and monthly bundles for every new smartphone connected to Airtel for the first 3 months. Dial *175*9# to enjoy double data. Double data, double data. Oh, bino bye biruma abayaye. Airtel, the smartphone network, regulated by Uganda Communications Commission.
Uganda decides 2021. That phase is soon coming to an end, and we shall soon have to get back to our work normally. Now, in our world of business, the business community downtown Kampala worked normally amidst the election exercise that was being conducted.
Now, traders and vendors carried out their business transactions regardless of voting women representatives and Kampala Lord Mayor representative.
Now, we've definitely heard of low voter turn-up on the polling stations. It's the same thing for the businesses. They're complaining of low customer turn-up. Let's take a look.
Traders and vendors downtown Kampala have been conducting their business normally in total disregard of the elections that were being held. Many shops were open and some vendors were seen transacting normally regardless of voting in a number of areas since most streets were congested. This explains the low turn-up at most polling stations around Kampala that registered few votes during the whole election process. However, the business community complains of low customer turn-up and as well as dissatisfaction with electoral reports that don't match up with the expectations.
Okulonda ba meya kugenze bulungi. Naye abantu bajumbidde nnyo ekiri awo. Abasinga bagambye twakobya okulonda. Naye nga bajumbidde balonze. Abasinga bagambye twadde mu biseera binga tukola mirimu gyaffe. Naye kati tuli mu kunoonya seera ate tudda mu byakulonda. Nebasawo ne bakola ki? Ne babyesonyiwa. Nempozi kintu kyalabyemu. Twali akababuswago za kulonda ate bagala tuzza abaana ku masomero. Bamuntu yanoonya sente z'abaana amasomero sinza kudda mu layini za kulonda. We batamu bagamba.
Nkulabyenga kutambudde bulungi. Tewabaddewo kavuyo konna. Akamanyi ke kana akali aka president kati bwe kagwa kati bano ebudde bwe badde tebalina balina okunoonya 10 kya leero.
Okulonda kwa leero kulingo kwa bulijjo kuturonze kwa nga 14 abantu baronze nga 14 twalonda olunaku olulamba katodde olero badde masimbira ino olunaku olulamba abantu baabo tebalina sente.
Sironze nze
kila mtu anahitaji pesa.
Atakaluka ba meya tukutandikira okugenda okulonda nga ne twalonda tebyatuuka.
Nonze nenye nzo nakola ntya abantu baweddemu amaanyi.
There was peace and calm in downtown Kampala as the business community conducted their daily duties this Wednesday. Sandra Kakunde, UBC News.
Now, in our international scene, the day has finally come, and after vowing to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, Joe Biden has officially been sworn in as the U.S. President of the United States. His oath of office was administered by Supreme Court Justice John Roberts.